Perfect game.
The Dodgers are the new world champions.
The impossible has happened.
It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, KCAL 9 presents the Dodgers as they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Tuesday evening to you, wherever you may be. Game 2 of the 3-game series. The Dodgers have beaten Arizona 6 times, losing once. They come in tonight with a little 2-game winning streak. And for Arizona, the other side of the coin. They're on a road trip where they've lost all 7 played, and they have an 8-game losing streak. All adds up to Dan Haren trying to snap it for Arizona and John Eli on the mound for the Dodgers. Eli with a record of 3-2. Dan Haren is 5-4. Shockingly has given up 16 home runs, but it's June, and Haren in his career is 16-4 in the month of June. We'll get to the ball game. We'll have it all coming up for you right after this. in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of the day. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Tuesday evening to you, wherever you may be. It's another gem of a day here in Southern California, and the prospects of perhaps another exciting, if not bizarre, finish to a National League baseball game. Interestingly enough, as Bob Davidson walks to his position as the second base umpire, research tells us that the last time the Dodgers won a game on a balk was 1989 when they did it against the New York Mets. The closer of the Mets at that time, and he'll be here Thursday, is the pitching coach of the Atlanta Braves, Roger McDowell. And the point of it is, in 1989, Bob Davidson, who was at third base last night, was the same fellow who called the balk against McDowell to finish the game. And Bob Davidson was behind the plate for that game. So if you think it is really odd to see a walk-off ball game, well, here's a fellow who's seen at least two of them and called both of them. With that, we salute Bob and the umpires, and now let's take a look at the visiting Arizona Diamondbacks, who are trying to get over the shock of what happened last night. Case in point, Kelly Johnson, the second baseman, who made two errors on a ground ball to help tie the game. Stephen Drew at short, Justin Upton in right, Adam LaRoche at first. Chris Young in center, Rusty Ryle at third base, Connor Jackson in left field, Chris Snyder behind the plate, and Dan Herron on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers is John Eli with a record of 3-2. He is 1-0 against Arizona. Interestingly enough, he won his first big league game, May the 11th, in Arizona. He allowed 2 runs over 6 innings, and he'll put his somewhat remarkable record on the line. It's remarkable in the sense that in his 6 starts, he has only walked 6 batters, and you probably remember that he had 89 consecutive batters without giving up a walk. Well, now he'll be facing Kelly Johnson, Stephen Drew, first 2 hitters left-handed, and then Justin Upton. Johnson, like any good ball player, just turns the page. The errors that he committed last night, they're as much as the batting average, home runs, etc. And the left-hand hitter takes ball 1, and the count 1-0. Johnson is even better than Todd Helton in the number of pitches to get him or have the issue decided when he's up there at the plate. And here he is ahead of the count already. 2 balls and no strikes. He averages over 4 pitches, 4.3, something like that. 2-0 pitch on the way. Kelly swings, lifts it into left center and deep. To the track goes Matt Kemp, reaches up and makes the catch about 5 feet from the wall. So Kelly Johnson a long out to center, 1 away. Let's take a look at the Dodgers with the leather. The infield of Loney and Carroll for Call and Blake, Ramirez, Kemp, and Ethier, and the battery of Martin and Eli. So 1 away, and the batter is Stephen Drew. Drew hit third in last night's game and went 0 for 4. He's batting .287. For most of the D-backs, this road trip has been a nightmare. Stephen Drew takes a strike, 0-1. He's hitting .208 on the road trip. But when you look at the Arizona outfield, it's really one big reason, I guess, why they've lost 8 in a row. Drew swings and misses 0-2. For instance, Justin Upton on deck is hitting .091 on the road trip. Chris Young, the center fielder, is batting .120. The strike 2 pitch on the way is fouled off. Connor Jackson started tonight. He'll be in left field. He's 1 for 17, batting .059. So suddenly it's the infield that has to produce. And of course, around second base, Stephen Drew, along with the left-hand hitting Kelly Johnson and first baseman Adam LaRoche, they've done the bulk of the hitting. Another foul ball off to the left, so Stephen hanging tough. No balls and 2 strikes. Drew, left-hand batter. Eli over the top, and the fastball is inside at the knees. 1-2 the count. John Eli out of Homewood, Illinois. only 24 years old. He celebrated his 24th birthday on the 13th of May. The 1-2 pitch is low. 2-2 the count to Stephen Drew. For the month of May, of course, the Dodgers had a rather remarkable time going 20-8. But now it's June, and the 2-2 pitch is swung on, pulled to Loney, who backs up for a hop and takes it to the bag for the second out. 2 down in the first inning, and now Justin Upton coming up. Upton hit the number 2 slot last night and homered on the pitch from Chad Billingsley. Upton now hitting number 3, and of course Billingsley, who pitched a remarkable game after giving up 3 home runs. A spectator along with Blake DeWitt taking in the action. So Upton, right-hand hitter, and takes the first pitch low. 1 ball and no strikes. Upton hitting .249, 8 home runs, 27 runs batted in. As we said, just 2 for 22 on this road trip. He takes off the plate. 2 balls and no strikes. So the D-backs, an 0-7 road trip, and add 1 loss before the trip started, so they've lost 8 in a row. 2-0 pitch on the way. Upton pulls it foul outside of third and down the line. Bo Porter gives that a wide berth. So young A.J. Hinch, going through the torments of the devil, everything imaginable seems to be happening to the D-backs, including last night, the double error by Johnson, and then the killer, the balk. 2-1 pitch on the way, and that's taken off the plate, ball 3. I don't know about you, but I felt that even though the umpires called it a balk, it really didn't fulfill the definition of what you and I believe is a balk. 3-1 pitch to Upton is taken inside, ball 4. In other words, a balk supposedly is when the pitcher deceives the base runner. That's why they put it in there. Well, that kid last night wasn't deceiving anybody. He just flinched when Casey Blake ran down the line, but the rule is in the books, and the balk was called. So with 2 out, a walk to Upton, and here is Adam LaRoche. Adam provides some socks, 7 home runs, 33 runs batted in, and hitting .271. But hitting just .190 on this road trip, takes a big curveball for a strike. So for John Eli, with a few walks over 6 starts, he has walked the 3rd man that he's looked at, and he immediately gets a strike on LaRoche. Throw to first, diving back to the bag is Upton. Justin Upton has stolen 8 out of 10, and it could very well be trying to shake the shackles of this 8-game losing streak that A.J. Hinch just plays it wide open. A fake by Upton, and LaRoche fouls the pitch away, and the count 0-2. So Eli going right after Adam on the short end of the count. If it was 2-0 or 3-0, you would expect Adam LaRoche to swing. So the left-hand hitter with Justin Upton off the bag at first. Big difference between these 2 teams in how they play, especially within the division, where the Diamondbacks have won only 7 games and lost 17 in the West. The Dodgers are 16-5 and have really beaten them up lately. They've won 11 of 13 against Western teams. However, they can't really put a move on San Diego. Padres are still out in front by 2. LaRoche way out in front of an off-speed pitch. Great changeup, and down he goes. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left. At the end of half an inning, as Dan Herron gets ready to go to the mound, no score. takes 18 pitches, walks a man, but nothing else, shuts down the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we go to the bottom of the first inning, and here's the way the Dodgers stack up. Rafael Furcal, followed by Matt Kemp and Andre Ethier. Manny Ramirez hits cleanup. Then it's James Loney, Casey Blake, and Russell Martin. Jamie Carroll playing second base instead of Blake DeWitt. And on the mound, John Eli. On the mound for Arizona, a hard-pressed Dan Herron. Born in Monterey Park, lives in West Covina, went to Pepperdine, has won as many as 16 games in the big league, but he is going through a rather horrifying time if you're a big league pitcher. He's given up 16 home runs already. The right-hander deals for call, bunts right back to the box. Aaron flips it over to first, so before you can tell you that Rafael was hitting .308, he bunts into an out, and we have one down. And the batter will be Matt Kemp. Then looking at Dan Herron, who's 6'5", 220. He'll be 30 in September. He's averaging 2 walks per 9 innings. He averages 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. And you say, well, how come he gives up 16 home runs? Well, just because. He doesn't walk many, he throws a lot of strikes, he's always right around the plate. The pitch now to Matt Kemp is taken for a strike. Colt 0-1. Kemp hitting .285, 10 home runs, 30 runs batted in. Among the Dodgers who have given Herron a bad time, Ramirez, Ethier, and Casey Blake. The pitch low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Manny waiting in the dugout, but ahead of him is Andre Ethier. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out, first inning, no score, and Matt Kemp backs away at a pitch at the shoe tops, ball 2, 2-1. You know, a strange thing about Dan Herron and Mark Reynolds, who has a bad leg and is not playing tonight. Reynolds, as you know, is a home run hitter and also strikes out a lot. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and Kemp grounds it hard to third. Right there is Rusty Ryle to make the play, and we have 2 down. Here's the strange connection between Herron and Mark Reynolds. 2 years ago, Herron struck out 206 hitters. Mark Reynolds struck out 204 times. Last year, Herron struck out 223 hitters. Mark Reynolds struck out 223. And this year is pretty much the same. Herron has struck out 76. Reynolds has struck out 72. And so as one goes, so goes the other. And here's Andre Ethier, and he takes low, ball 1, 1-0. First thing you want to do is examine the bat with Andre Ethier. Remember his first at-bat last night? It was covered with a rubber protection over the knob. Then he broke the bat. And that was the end of it. And this bat is without any protection at all. So it's an indication, I guess, that he played last night without any real pain. He did go 0 for 4. But if he isn't the closer, he's awfully close because he was the one who hit the ground ball to Kelly Johnson, on which Kelly made 2 errors, and it tied up the game. The 2-0 pitch is whacked into the gap in left center. On the dead run, reaching up and making a marvelous play is Connor Jackson. So Connor Jackson takes an extra base hit away from Andre Ethier. Wonderful play. Running deep and then parallel, just reached up, somehow hit it, and then backed into the wall. And at the end of an inning, no score. With one, thanks to that running catch by Connor Jackson. Dan made only 8 pitches, however. Remember, he got Rafael to bunt on the first pitch. So we go to the second inning, no score. It'll be Chris Young, Rusty Ryle, and then Connor Jackson who made that splendid running catch. The D-backs trying somehow to shake loose, trying to get rid of all the bad things that have happened, especially going 9-20 in the month of May. So here's Chris hitting .274, right-hand hitter with 8 home runs, 39 runs batted in, and takes off the plate. Young last night homered leading off the second inning, and then went 0 for 3 the remainder of the night. The 1-0 pitch on the way from John Eli is outside. 2 balls and no strikes to count. Second inning of game 2. Remember, tomorrow a 12-10 game. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way. Fastball for a strike, and the count 2-1. Tomorrow, concluding the series, Edwin Jackson, the former Dodger, and Carlos Monasterios. 2-1 pitch to Chris Young, fouled away. Upstairs off to the right, and the count 2-2. Chris Young, you may or may not remember the story. He's from Texas. He was on one school, bitter rivals of James Loney's school, and they faced each other, etc. The 2-2 pitch is pulled on the ground to third. Casey Blake is up with it and makes the play. So we have 1 out in the second inning, and Rusty Ryle coming up.
Third baseman number 4, Rusty Ryle.
1 away, second inning, no score. Rusty hitting .310, 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in. Doesn't get into the starting lineup very often, and on the road trip, he's just 1 for 8. That one was a home run. So overall batting average .310. Rusty takes a strike, and the count 0-1. I promised myself something, that the next time he plays, I'm not going to say anything about you know what. Rusty Ryle, I'm sure he's sick and tired of hearing about it. A breaking ball is bounced in front of the left-hand hitter's box and goes all the way to the backstop. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rusty Ryle. That last name, R-Y-A-L. He's out of Ponca City, Oklahoma, and he takes a pitch high, ball 2. Many, many years ago, the Dodgers, believe it or not, had 26 farm clubs, and one of them was in Ponca City. The 2-1 pitch on the way, swung on, and a drive to center. Kemp going back just about to the track now and makes the catch for the out. So a long fly ball to center, 2 down, and Connor Jackson coming up. Don't forget, join the Dodgers Friday at 7:10 for 70s night. Their first 20,000 fans will take home a foil stamped limited edition poster featuring James Loney and Casey Blake. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. Connor Jackson checking in, already made his presence known, making a fine play on the ball hit by Andre Ethier. He fouls a fastball back, and just like that, the count 0-1. Connor hitting just .221. He was a victim of valley fever, and it has really slowed him down. Lost just about all of last year. He takes another strike, 0-2. Born and lives in Austin, went to the University of California, and really grew up in the San Fernando Valley. Strike 2 pitch to Connor is swung on, lifted to left center. It's playable. Matt Kemp goes to the track again to haul it in. So Eli's getting him out. He's allowed 3 long fly balls, and at the end of an inning and a half, no score. no score. Face in the crowd will be a very busy father, but he's also very cool. He has one strapped in I guess like a sling on his chest, and then he has a very busy daughter who's about 2.5 at his feet, constantly in motion, and all of them began to clap when Manny was introduced. So it'll be Ramirez, Loney, and Blake against Dan Herron, and Manny has certainly hurt Herron in the past. Dan ready, hesitates, delivers, drops it in there for a strike. Ramirez, 17 for 31. That translates into a .548 batting average with 3 home runs against Herron. The Manny overall batting average, .287 with 4 home runs, fouls the pitch away, and the count 0-2. Manny homered, leading off the second inning last night. Up there now with a no-ball, 2-strike count. Manny backs out, fussing with the batting gloves, not quite ready to get back in yet. We're in the bottom of the second inning, no score in the ball game. Dan Herron comes right back, and the pitch low and inside, ball 1, 1-2. Manny Ramirez came off the disabled list May 8th and was hitting only 200, so the sight of Dan Herron may perk him up a little bit. Dan ready, and his 1-2 pitch on the way. That's low and outside. So he tried to hit inside, now outside, and the count goes to 2-2. While Manny Ramirez was out of the lineup, the Dodgers were 6-8. While Ethier was out of the lineup, the Dodgers were 10-5. 2-2 pitch on the way, and Manny hits a ground ball to the left of Stephen Drew. Wonderful pick. Throw gets him. Flashing to his left, Stephen Drew hounds the ground ball and makes a nice play. So 1 away in the second inning, and James Loney coming up. James Loney last night had fouled out in the second inning, hit a line drive right at Justin Upton in right field. Then in the 7th inning, hit another line drive right at Kelly Johnson. And in the 9th inning last night, he walked, took second on a single by Casey Blake, and on a bunt situation with Martin when Augie Ojeda started to come towards the plate, James thought he had a play to steal third. Instead, he almost ran the Dodgers out of the rally as he takes a strike, and in his own words, the dumbest thing I've ever done, the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. Well, it wasn't that bad. Strike 1 pitch on the way, James takes low and away. I mean, actually, had he not hesitated after he had taken his original lead, he probably would have made it third, as Ojeda had moved up on the bunt. The 1-1 pitch on the way to James, swung on, whacked foul down the line, deep in the lower deck. 1-2. For those of you watching on television, you can see Loney start to go, hesitate, and then when Snyder flips the ball back, he tries to steal third, stumbled, and by that time, Rodrigo Lopez ran into the shortstop, and eventually they ran him down. The 1-2 pitch is low, 2-2 the count to Loney. Loney is hitting .323 with a home run against Herron. Overall, .286, 4 home runs, 32 runs batted in. Herron comes back, and there's a ground ball to the right side. Up with it is Kelly Johnson in time. So 2 ground balls and 2 out. And the batter will be Casey Blake. Casey Blake is known for a lot of things. Known for a good, steady performance day in and day out. Good glove, good bat, power. And all of a sudden last night, a threat on the bases as he put a pretty good fake down the line from third. That caused the pitcher, Esmeralda Vasquez, to flinch, and the balk was called. Casey, 7 home runs, 27 runs batted in, and looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to Casey Blake, facing Dan Herron. Blake hitting .351 against Herron, and probably lines one to left, coming up to short hop it, and then as he overruns the ball, has to go back and pick it up. So Connor Jackson unable to handle it, It's a 2-out single left by Casey Blake, and it'll bring up Russell Martin. Just to keep it in mind, remember tomorrow here at Arizona, and it'll be prime ticket at 12:10. Then the Braves, who are playing exceptionally well like the Dodgers. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday on KCAL. Then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on prime ticket. All the games, of course, on 790 KABC and the Dodger Radio Network. Russell Martin at the plate and takes ball one. 1-0 the count. Martin hitting .244, home run 4, and 13 runs batted in. Martin hitting just .138 against Dan Herron. Right-handed deals, and that's fouled away off to the right. 1-1 the count. So Herron, after facing guys who have given him a bad time, Ramirez, Loney, and Blake, now looks to Russell Martin as an escape hatch and get out of the inning. So Herron with a runner at first and 2 out, and Martin, it's a high fly ball to left field, but it's playable. Connor Jackson on the grass and makes the catch, and I'm sure a sigh of relief heaved by Dan Herron when that ball left the bat. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of 2, no score. Third inning, no score in the ball game for Arizona. It'll be the big catcher, Chris Snyder, followed by Dan Herron, and then the leadoff man, Kelly Johnson. Chris Snyder has done very well in coming up with RBIs. He's right up there with the top catchers offensively in the National League. We mentioned it yesterday. Chris feels very fortunate. His wife was expecting their 3rd child, and he had to go out on this road trip. Actually, the trip was in sections. He went out, team came home, and his wife delivered when he was home. A boy, Trevor. So Chris with 8 home runs, 25 runs batted in, and we move to the 3rd inning. John Eli has allowed 3 long fly balls, but they're all for outs. Snyder, meanwhile, has a look and takes a strike, and the count 0-1. When you look at catchers, his 25 RBIs puts him right up there with Miguel Olivo of Colorado. That's a strike, 0-2. Rod Barajas and Yadier Molina had 28 RBIs the last time we looked. 0-2 to Chris. Eli comes back 0-2, works it inside, ball 1, 1-2. Eli looks down the barrel, getting a sign from Martin, and his 1-2 pitch on the way, off speed and away 2-2 the count. When you look at the Arizona offense, and certainly with their power, you expect them to rack up a lot of runs. But they've had 6 blowout games where they scored a lot, 15-6, 13-5, 11-1, 13-1. But if you remove the 6 blowout games, they're just behind the Padres and ahead of Pittsburgh and Houston. They're 14th offensively. And Snyder fooled on a changeup and strikes out. One away.
Pitcher number 15.
So that is strikeout number 2 for John Eli. Great change. And now here's Dan Herron, about as good a hitting pitcher as there is around. As Herron checks in with the bat, he has 13 hits, 4 RBIs. He has 5 doubles, and he takes a strike. I just don't remember the last time I saw a pitcher do what Dan Herron did. Herron against the St. Louis Cardinals not only pitched and won, he had 4 hits. Little ground ball to Casey Blake to get him. 2 down, and where's Eli going? Whoa! John Eli thought it was the 3rd out. Hang in there, John. It's not quite that easy, so he's a little embarrassed. He was heading for the dugout, and he is mortified. That's great. Easy inning. Oh, still 3 outs for the inning, and back he goes. So John is not finished yet. And here's Kelly Johnson. So an embarrassed young man out of Homewood, Illinois. And his pitch to Kelly Johnson misses, ball 1, 1-0. No score, top of the 3rd. 1 hit in the game so far, a single by Casey Blake. Eli, both feet on the rubber, works from the first base side, really. Comes back to Johnson, who beats it foul in the dirt, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Kelly Johnson, 12 home runs, 25 runs batted in. First time I ever heard the name Kelly Johnson was out of the mouth of Bobby Cox, who will be in here Thursday with the Braves. Bobby just thought the world of Kelly Johnson. Swings and doesn't get it, 1 and 2. He thought Johnson was the ideal player, extremely hard-working, takes adversity as well as the good times, about as good as anybody. He looks at a pitch in the dirt, and the count 2-2. So if anybody was going to have a bad night and then forget about it, it apparently would be Kelly Johnson, who, by the way, even though he's an infielder, had Tommy John surgery. 2-2 pitch on the way off the plate, ball 3. Eli ready, and the 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. A high changeup, and Kelly Johnson tried to uppercut it and came up empty. Now, John, you can go to the dugout, and at the end of 2.5, no score. Bottom of the third inning, no score in the ball game. It'll be Jamie Carroll, John Eli, and then Rafael Furcal facing Dan Herron. Jamie Carroll, an unsung hero. Remember, he played in 25 straight games when Rafael Furcal was on the DL. How'd he do? He hit .285 during that time, and he had 10 RBIs in the 25 games. Also, the team won with him, and Jamie looks at a pitch low. In those 25 games with Jamie Carroll, the Dodgers were 17-8. No coincidence. So Jamie hitting .269. Rafael Furcal now back to playing, and Jamie takes inside, ball 2. Kind of a luxury for the Dodgers to get Furcal back and then play either Blake DeWitt or Jamie Carroll. DeWitt is hitting .261, Carroll .269. The 2-0 pitch on the way. Jamie looks at ball 3. Carroll 2 for 9 against Herron over in the American League. 3-0 the count. Dan Herron comes back, fires a strike, and the count 3-1. In looking at Herron's numbers, he has walked 15, and he has struck out 76. 5-1. The 3-1 pitch, that's a strike. So with a 5-1 ratio, strikeouts to walks, and then you hit that 16 home runs allowed. Wow. John Eli waiting on deck. And the 3-2 pitch coming up. Jamie swings, hits it right by the leg of Herron and on through into center field. So Jamie, a lead-off single, and that'll bring up Eli in what would appear to be certainly a bunt situation. You know, tomorrow, come on out here and join us. Enjoy an afternoon at Dodger Stadium with the business lunch special. Compliments of Staples. For a limited time, you can save 50% on field level tickets at Dodgers.com/Staples. The game's 12:10 with the D-backs. Use the promo code Staples. That was easy. The bunt is on. The bunt is missed. 0-1 the count to John Eli. So he'll look back to Larry Boa to see if it's on again. No score. Bottom of the third. Carroll with a base hit, so the Dodgers have 2 hits, nothing to show for it yet. As Dan Herron bends on, straightens up, and the strike 1 pitch, Eli shows bunt, lunges at it and misses, strike 2. You know, you look at Dan Herron out there and compare him this year to last. Last year from, let's say, April to July, he was 10-5. This year, he's been struggling, and he's 5-4. Strike 2 pitch on the way. The bunt is lunged at and missed, and down goes Eli. 1 away. That would be the first strikeout for Dan Herron, and bring up Rafael Furcal.
Shortstop number 15, Rafael Furcal.
So Rafael Furcal coming up. Rafael bunted the very first pitch right back to Herron, though he's 0 for 1. Rafael came into the game hitting just .207 against Herron, so he's given him a bad time. He is 6 for 30. Dan ready. Here he comes. Rafael takes low. Ball 1. 1-0. Jamie Carroll over at first base has been in 40 some odd games. He is 2 for 2 in stolen bases. And Rafael checking with Boa. Matt Kemp on deck. Rafael batting .306. Throw to first, and Jamie diving back. Throw gets away from Adam LaRoche, but not far enough. Just into the coach's box. 1-0 the count. The Braves are coming. You know how well the Dodgers have been playing. So have the Braves. They're in first place, leading Philadelphia by half a game. They have a 6-game winning streak at the start of today, as Furcal fouls it away. Bobby's boys have also won 8 out of 10. And Jason Haywood and company, he is the outstanding rookie that has everybody talking about him. We would heartily recommend you get your tickets and come out to look at a lot of new faces. And they're paying off. The Braves playing exceptionally well. 1-1 the count to Rafael Furcal. Aaron ready. Dan delivers and drops it low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Aaron trying to turn things around. In his own words, he's pitched well enough. It's just the shock of all the home runs. Now the 2-1 pitch is instead another throw over to first. Dan, as we mentioned, in the month of June in his career is 16-4. However, he has struggled during his career in August and September. 2-1 pitch swung on and popped up. It's the left side, and it will be Stephen Drew, the shortstop, and makes the catch for the second out. So we have 2 down. Carroll, who led off with a single, is still there. And it'll be Matt Kemp coming up. You know, they talk about quality starts. The Arizona stat man says a quality start is 7 innings. Usually you hear 6, but he says 7 innings where you allow 3 runs or less. Well, they've had 13 of those quality starts, and they're 6-7. Not quite quality. Dan Haren, originally signed by the Cardinals 2001, went to Pepperdine, as we said, throws to first again. He came up to the Cardinals in 03 and 04, went over to the A's 5, 6, and 7, and this is his 3rd year with Arizona. Haren ready and delivers, and it's fouled away, 0-1. His winningest year with Arizona would be 2008. Dan was 16-8. Good ERA of 3. The opposition, they hit about the same every year. In fact, back-to-back years, 07 and 8. Opposition hit 247. Dan ready in the strike 1 pitch. Kemp, a hard ground ball to third. Ryle stays with it, makes the play just in time. Hustling Jamie Carroll almost legged it out. No runs, a hit, a man left, and at the end of 3, no score. California Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a luxurious Lexus today. Visit Lexus.com. And by Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far. Beautiful evening in Los Angeles. Dodger Stadium glistening under the lights. You can see the mountains somewhat hazy out there in Mountain Land as John Eli prepares to work in the 4th. Stephen Drew, Justin Upton, and Adam LaRoche. The mountains are kind of silhouetted out there, a little bit bluer than the canopy overhead. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers, nothing across for the D-backs. Stephen Drew grounded out in the first inning. The Diamondbacks scored 4 runs last night and lost, as you know, 5-4. If they score 4 or less, they have an awful record. If they score 4 runs or less, their record is 1-25. Here's the strike 1 pitch. 1-1. So John Eli, he allowed the walk to Upton. That's it. 1-1. High fastball, ball 2. Stephen Drew, like most left-hand hitters, would like the ball down. Most right-hand hitters like the ball up. There's always someone contrary to the rule. That pitch was down a little, and Stephen went after it. 2-2. Younger brother of J.D., I'm sure you know, of the Red Sox. Dodgers will play Boston on the 18th, 19th, and 20th of June in Beantown, the land of the bean and the cod, where the Cabots talk only to lodges and the lodges talk only to God. So now, I think that's how it goes. 3-2 the count to Stephen Drew. Still 3-2. Took Eli 44 pitches to get through 3 innings. And Drew making him work now, fouling off pitches, and the count stays 3-2. Popped in the air, foul, no play. So Drew is seeing a bunch of pitches right now, 7 all told. The Diamondbacks 11.5 games back at San Diego. They're 12 games under 500. Drive to left and deep. Manny going back to the track at the wall. Reaches up and makes the catch. Oh. Manny with a big grin on his face as Matt Kemp comes over to congratulate him. And he made it look easy. Then he kind of puts on a little show for his buddies in the dugout. Monasterio and Belliard getting a big kick out of him. But Manny just going back, he knew exactly what he wanted to do and reached up. The ball would not have gone out, but it certainly would have hit inches below the top of the pads. So a fine play, 1 away. Slow curveball for a strike to Justin Upton. So 4 pretty long fly balls, and Eli getting away with it. Next one is lifted to shallow right. Carroll out. Coming in is Ethier. We can take another look at Manny. It shows you that he took one look at where the wall was, ran parallel, and then just reached up and took an extra base hit away from Drew. John Eli heaves a sigh of relief. A congratulatory point by Rafael Furcal. And with 2 down, Adam LaRoche. The lights don't really take effect this early in the evening. A line drive to left. Manny comes up, picks that off, and heads for the dugout. So Eli is pitching to contact, and they're hitting the ball pretty hard, but at the end of 3.5 innings, no score. fly balls in the top of the fourth inning. And look at the reaction of the team. Joe Torre will come down. There he is. Everybody enjoying Manny's play in left field. Meanwhile, it'll be Andre Ethier, followed by Manny, and then James Loney. Andre hit the ball very hard, and that's when Connor Jackson made a wonderful play out in left field for Arizona. Ball one. 1-0 the count. So Andre hitting .377, 11 home runs, 38 runs batted in. 0 for 4 last night, so 0 for 5 coming back. Ground foul behind Mariano, 1-1. Well, I guess his finger has to be okay. No protection on the knob. He had that on the bat he used in his first at-bat last night, and he cracked that bat. And he did not have any others with the protection. Line drive to right. Upton comes up and makes the fine catch. Upton made a similar play on a ball hit by James Loney last night. So Ethier is hitting the ball hard. Line drive to left, line drive to right. Andre was saying the only time he felt any pain at all with the finger, not hitting, but when he caught a ball in rehab in the outfield. Ethier has caught one ball tonight, and last night I don't think he had a chance. So here's Manny. Ball one. Manny grounded to Stephen Drew. It was a good play. He hit the ball up the middle, and Drew has to play him on the rim and in the hole. Had to go way over to his left and made the play. 2-0 the count. Herron with that very deliberate delivery. He just freezes almost like a statue for a split second. That way the body and the arm catch up together. Right there. Ground ball. Rusty Ryle. And we have 2 down. So we have no score. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. And James Loney coming up. Loney grounded out to Kelly Johnson in the 2nd inning. No score in the 4th. The D-backs have had one base runner, Upton, who walked in the 1st inning. The Dodgers have 2 hits. Blake singled in the 2nd. Carroll singled in the 3rd. That's it. 0-1 to James. Oh and 2. .10 game tomorrow. Hope you make your plans to be out here with us. Be the final game with the D-backs for a while, and then the Braves come in. They'll set up camp Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Cardinals for 3. 2-2. Kind of an awkward finish by Dan Herron, and Chris Snyder held up both hands as if to say, easy, big guy. You're overthrowing on that pitch. 2-2 the count. Look at that. Now watch Snyder. Easy. Take it easy, big guy. And Herron is big. He's 6'5". The drive to right, hooking down the line, foul. Loney was all over it, but pulled it way too much. He has 4 home runs. Two and 2. Foul ball. One of the asterisk footnotes on Dan Herron was his stick-to-itiveness 4 years ago with Oakland. He gave up 8 runs in the first 2 innings at Toronto. 8 runs and won the game. That's foul. That afternoon, he went 5 2/3, allowed 9 runs, but the A's beat Toronto 12-10. That was the first time it was done in American League history. 8 runs in the first 2 and still win. The 2-2 pitch. And that's whacked to right. Upton charging, dives, and it's off his glove. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. He was not about to let that line drive control him. He was going to meet that thing head on. As soon as that ball was hit, Upton was dead on it and just couldn't quite make another sparkling catch. And that thing was smoke. Here comes Upton. Tried to backhand it, couldn't do it. Exciting young ball player. Justin Upton, 22. He'd be 23 late in August, out of Norfolk, Virginia. And his brother BJ is another dandy over in the American League. So Loney, a 2-out single. The Dodgers have 3 hits, but nothing else. And Casey Blake 1 for 1 at the plate. Ball 1. 1-0. No runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, no hits for the D-backs. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Young, Ryle, and Jackson due up in the 5th inning for Arizona. That's in there. Little slider at 87. 1-1. Dan, as we said, a big fella, 6'5", 220. Last year, the opposition hit only .224 against Herron. This year, going into this game, the opposition is hitting .288 against him. So it's been a rocky ride so far, but of course we're just starting June. Behind now 3-1. Waiting on deck, Russell Martin. There goes Loney on ball 4. And instead of ball 4, it's a high strike, 3-2. So Loney winds up with a stolen base. There was no throw down, and it looked like Blake. Well, take another look. Looked like he thought it was inside, and so Loney comes up with a stolen base, running 3-2, and Blake, a little bit in shock, is still at the plate. For Loney, he is now stolen 7 out of 10. On the ground to Kelly Johnson. That'll be that. No runs, 1 hit, a man left at second base, and Blake, I think, still fit to be tied on that pitch. And at the end of 4, no score. biggest disappointment so far this year? The Brewers, the Mariners, or the Diamondbacks? Text your answer to 86212 on your cell phone, and we'll see how that comes out. Meanwhile, we're scoreless going into the fifth inning. In a comparison between the Dodgers and the D-backs, one reason why the Dodgers are playing so well and the D-backs are struggling, we were talking about the quality start where you're asking 7 innings, 3 runs or less. And the D-backs are 6 and 7. The Dodgers in the same 13 outings, 7 innings, 3 or less, they're 12 and 1. A huge difference. Eli, meanwhile, has given up a lot of long fly balls. A splendid catch by Manny Ramirez. A line drive off LaRoche's bat. And some long fly balls to center. Drops it in for a strike. 0-1. Chris Young grounded to third in the second inning. Another thing is what's happened to the Arizona outfield. Time. The outfield for Arizona hitting about 250. The average in the National League is a little over 260, and the Dodgers hitting a little over 300. One and one to Chris Young. 2-1. And taken for a strike. 2-2 the count. Chris Young, back in 07, became the first rookie in history to have a 30 home run, 25 stolen base season in his first year. Ground ball to short for call. One away. That is an upset in itself because Chris Young hits more fly balls than anyone compared to ground balls. So Eli, on a night where he's giving up a lot of fly balls, gets Young twice to hit the ball on the ground. That is an upset. Here's Rusty Ryle. Off speed for a strike. 0-1 the count. Pulled on the ground hard and by Casey Blake. I'm not sure if that ball fooled Casey or what. He's acting like he's a little fooled, disappointed. Take a look. Hard ground ball, never touched it. I think he feels he should have, but he didn't, and it'll go as a base hit. And of course, that's the first hit that young John Eli has given up. And the batter, Connor Jackson, who flied to center in the second inning. Fouled away. 0-1. So for only the second time tonight, John Eli pitching out of a stretch. He gave up a 2-out walk to Justin Upton in the first inning and came right back to strike out Andy LaRoche. Now he gives up a 1-out single, and here's Connor Jackson hitting .219. Martin takes a shot, no chance. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ryle is a chip off the old block over there at first base. His dad played for 5 teams in the major leagues. His dad played for 6 years and spent 14 years as a pro. No score. 5th inning, 1 out. Ryle at first, and a 1-1 count to Connor Jackson. laid off a low fastball. 2-1. So on a 2-1 count, Connor takes a look at Bo Porter to see if Hinch might want to put a play on. Jackson has walked 16 times and struck out 16 times. So let's see if they play hit and run here with him. Nope. And it's a strike on the inside corner, and Connor questions the judgment of Tim Timmons on that call. Tim Timmons has been umpiring over 11 years. He's from Ohio. I love his hobby. He refurbishes vintage Porsches. Call Jay Leno. 2-2. And a high fly ball to left field. Back goes Manny to the track at the wall and makes the catch in front of the window in the bullpen. And back to first base goes Rusty Ryle. Boy, John Eli is giving up a lot of long fly balls, but they translate into outs. And the batter now will be Chris Snyder. You can get away with it pretty much here at Dodger Stadium. Good sized ballpark. But he's given up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 long fly balls in 4 2/3 innings. He starts Snyder with a strike. 0-1 to count it, Chris. Dan Herron on deck. Keeping an eye on Rusty. Ryle has never played a lot, so you don't really have much of an idea whether he has good running speed or not. With the Diamondbacks last year, no stolen bases, but he wasn't in very many games. That got away from Martin. Ryle going down to second, and the ball's into center field. And Ryle is up on his way to third easily. So on the pitch that gets away from Martin, Ryle goes into second and then advances to third as Russ's throw goes into center. That's where it's squirted away. Ryle moves on down, and then the throw, a one hopper that gets by Carroll. Call couldn't back up. So it'll be a wild pitch and an error charged on Martin. So now Snyder with a chance to pick somebody up. And the 1-1 pitch on the way. Little roller to short. Call up with it. That'll be that. So just when he needed a ground ball, he got it. No runs, a hit, an error, a man left, and at the end of 4.5, no score. Dodgers were 3 hits, but they've not gotten a man to second base. And the D-backs have 1 hit and got a man around to third. You just saw on the wild pitch and the throwing error. So Dan Haren even in the game, and he'll be facing the bottom 3 in the Dodger lineup. That would be Russell Martin, Jamie Carroll, and John Eli. Russell Martin hitting .243, 4 home runs, 13 runs batted in, fly to left field in the second inning. Breaking ball, strike, 0-1. Oh and 2. Haren is 5-4 with the lead, but twice he has left the game in position for a win, and it's been lost by the bullpen. 6 times this year, an Arizona starter has left with a chance to win, and the bullpen has lost the game. As bad as the starting pitching has been for Arizona on this road trip, the pen has been even worse. 1-2. Fouled into the mitt of Snyder, and that'll do it for Martin. 1 away in the 5th inning. And Jamie Carroll coming up.
14, Jamie Carroll.
So Jamie Carroll singled but was forced in the 3rd inning, hitting .275. And on deck, John Eli. Interesting to watch Haren tonight, especially because in watching him closely this year, as the game goes on, he really struggles. But here he is in the 5th inning with 1 out, doing very well. If you break his performance down, the middle 3 innings, his earned run average is just about 5.5. From the 7th inning on, his earned run average is over 10. Is it fatigue? Maybe. One thing about him, he's had 7 games where he's made over 100 pitches. His high 119. Fastball, and he hits 93 on the gun, so he's still bringing it. 1-2 the count. Now the 1-2 pitch. Half swing, no swing, says Tim Tashida. 2-2 to Jamie Carroll. On deck, John Eli. No score. Bottom of the 5th inning. Shot back off Haren's leg. He picks it up, throws on a bounce too late, and he's hurting a little bit. More, I think, over giving up the base hit. The plate umpire, Tim Timmons, went right out there to watch the play, and Haren apparently is okay. Take another look. Here's the ball off his leg, and see Timmons coming up. I think what Timmons wanted to do was to see where Jamie Carroll was as far as running inside the line. So it's a 1-out single for Jamie. He's 2 for 2 now. And here's Eli, and you'd expect a bunt, or at least an attempt. He tried to bunt, couldn't come close to it in the 3rd inning. Bunt's foul. I remember when Eli made a start, and after the game, some of the coaches were saying, we got to really work with this kid. He's liable to get killed up there trying to bunt. So they had Maury Wills try to help him. And he does have 2 bunts. 0 for 1 tonight. and got the bunt down, and Snyder has to make the play. He also had to make a big decision because that ball landed like a poached egg just inside the foul line, and Chris apparently felt it was not going to go foul. Watch this. So far so good, but now it's getting close, and he opted to get it. So Eli sacrifices Carroll to second, and Rafael for call. 0 for 2 coming up. No score, bottom of the 5th inning. For call has always had trouble with Herron. He joins a long and distinguished group, of course. Rafael has 6 hits in 31 at-bats against Carroll. And a strike. Rafael with 9 runs batted in. On deck, Matt Kemp. Oh and 1. 1 and 1 in at the kneecaps at 90. One ball, one strike. Ball 2. Dan Herron's father grew up in certainly a neighborhood I knew well in New York, Washington Heights. Maybe, 3 miles north of the Polo Grounds. Not quite, but almost directly across the Harlem River from Yankee Stadium. Little roller foul. 2-2 the count. Dan's sister went to Columbia University, but he eventually came out here and went to Pepperdine. Didn't know anything about pitching. He went to Pepperdine to hit. As a freshman, they put him in the rotation, and he proved to be a quick learner. 2-2. Fastball blows him away. So Herron continues his mastery of for call. No run to hit a man left. At the end at 5. No score. Pee Wee Waninger was supposed to come up and hit. Instead, they sent up a pinch hitter for him. The pinch hitter was Lou Gehrig. The next day, Wally Pipp came to Yankee Stadium with a headache. Lou Gehrig took over at first base and played 2,130 consecutive games over 16 years from 1925 until he said goodbye in 1939. But this was the beginning. A pinch hit appearance by Lou Gehrig on this day in 1925. and the story of the Iron Horse began. Let's go back to this one. Thinking about it, Lou Gehrig, after we mentioned that Dan Harron's sister went to Columbia, and of course that's where Big Lou matriculated. And here's Harron now, fouled away, 0-1. In April this year, against the St. Louis Cardinals, Dan had a 4-hit game, hitting .394. And a hard ground ball base hit. Boy, he is a dandy. He just got that curveball and whacked it. So Harron is 1 for 2 as he singles up the middle. They're saying it in jest, of course, but there are people traveling with the D-backs that say, heck, let's make believe it's college. Let Harron pitch one day and play the outfield the other days. Well, Dan, who came into the game hitting .406, grounded out, now 1 for 2. He has 14 base hits. Kelly Johnson, a towering foul ball. Casey Blake has it come back to him. As so often happens, a ball that looks like it's heading for the stands will suddenly drift back to the playing field. Casey Blake's been playing here long enough now. Like Loney, you don't quit on those foul balls. You have a good chance of having him come back. Stephen Drew grounded to first, and he was the one who hit that ball to deep left field, and Manny Ramirez went back and picked it off. Stephen 0 for 2, batting .284, 4 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Ground ball to short. Furcall's going to go to the bag for one and doubles in at first. .6-3 double play. No runs a hit, nobody left. And at the end of 5.5, no score. Brought to you by Carl's Jr. $6 burgers, made with 100% Black Angus beef. No score as we work our way to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Dodgers 4 hits, all singles, and the D-backs 2 singles. But a pitching duel, the veteran Dan Harron and the rookie John Eli. Eli, by the way, made only 4 pitches in the 6th inning. So he's made a total of only 74 pitches in 6 innings. Matt Kemp, then Andre Ethier, and Manny Ramirez. Matt grounded to third, hit into a force play. 0 for 2. Kemp against Herrin in the past, hitting .269, did have 2 home runs against him. And a strike. Dan Herrin has not walked anybody. John Eli has walked 1. Foul ball. Herrin has struck out 3, allowed 4 hits, nothing else. Eli has struck out 3, allowed 2 hits, nothing else. Ball 1. In San Diego, the Mets are leading the Padres 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning behind Mike Pelfrey. David Wright has homered, knocked in both runs against left-hander Wade LeBlanc. Squirted up along first. LaRoche drops it in his haste to get to the bag. And for the D-backs, if it isn't one thing, it's another. For the D-backs, that would be their 33rd error.
Right fielder number 16,
And Herrin obviously annoyed, LaRoche somewhat embarrassed, and now Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier, coming into this series, had always worn out Arizona, and especially here at Dodger Stadium. You know, when he took the field last night, his career batting average here against Arizona, .426, with 16 extra base hits. Little foul ball out of play. Ethier has hit the ball hard, lined out to Connor Jackson, who made a wonderful play in the first inning, running to the wall, and then hit a sinking line drive to right and a diving catch by Justin Upton. Meanwhile, Kemp at first, nobody out, posing Herrin with yet another problem. Matt has stolen 7 bases, and Herrin is thinking about it. No score, bottom of the 6th, each side with 1 error. And there goes Kemp, and a hit-and-run fly ball to left field. Kemp is around second, so he'll really have to hot-foot it back, and Connor Jackson gets it back to the infield. So Ethier, a fly ball to left, and with 1 out, Manny Ramirez.
fielder number 99, Manny Ramirez.
Manny lost a hit on a ground ball up the middle. A nice play by Stephen Drew. Then last time up, he grounded to third to Rusty Ryle. So Matt trying to balance his book. 7 stolen bases, but he's been caught 8 times. All last year, he was caught 8. There's ball 1. Manny, like Ethier, has always given the D-backs a bad time. His career, .413, 12 home runs, 32 RBIs against Arizona. 1-0. Little wrinkle on that one. The curveball for a strike. 1-1. On deck, James Loney. Herrin always looks tired to me, but I think it's because of the facial hair. 1-1. Fastball in there, and he hits 90 on the gun. 1-2 the count to Manny. Kemp looking for an opening. There he goes. And a shot foul that almost took the laces out of Larry Bowa's shoes. 1-2 the count. That thing was really stung. And he just did get out of the way. Manny, who has worn out Herron in the past, came into the game hitting .548 against him, but he is 0 for 2. And that's going to hit up the end of the bat, a dunker into right center, and Matt Kemp fly into third with 1 out. So Manny hit it off the end of the bat, not nearly as hard as the foul ball, but he flares it for a hit. So the Dodgers now trying to cash in the error by Adam LaRoche. Just a little flare, and look at Herron drop to his knees. Dan was visibly upset after the error by LaRoche. Now he has to be fighting it on that pop fly, feeling he made a good pitch. First and third, 1 out, and James Loney grounded to second and single to right. No score, bottom of the 6th. High fastball at 90, and James went after it. Thinking perhaps good ball to hit in the air out of the infield and get Kemp home. So Matt at third, Manny at first, 1 away, no score. Infield back. And another strike. 0-2. Loney has 3 scoring fly balls. You might be surprised. You know who leads the Dodgers in sacrifice flies? Jamie Carroll. 0-2. Looked at it and paid the price. So a huge pitch. It was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right about at the knees. So down goes Loney. 4 strikeouts for Herron. And Casey Blake, single to left, grounded to second, 1 for 2. Blake hitting .279 and a strike. Slider, good pitch. Started just above the knees and had just enough movement to hold its own in the strike zone. 0-1. And 2. He has a pretty good splitter, and what's amazing, he can throw it hard enough. That was about 85 or 86. He has a full deck: fastball, cutter, splitter, curve, changeup. 0-2. And he bounces it, and Manny will go to second. However, Chris Snyder did a wonderful job. He not only blocked it, but he pushed it up towards the runner, Kemp, who had nothing to do but watch. And he'll just keep it up that way. Meanwhile, on the wild pitch, Ramirez goes to second. But a nice play by Chris, who has that huge streak, 236 games, I think it is, without an error. 1-2 the count to Casey Blake. For Dan Herron, by the way, with that splitter, he has 5 wild pitches and almost another. And another good save by Snyder. Live by the splitter, you can also have your troubles with it. 2-2 the count to Casey Blake. No score, bottom of the 6th. Dodgers at second and third. So the deuce is wild and fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dodgers have 2 on. Looking for a run. Blake getting sliders and splitters, and Loney alone with his thought of looking at a fastball for strike 3. Two and two. Got it. So it was a fastball at 93. Aaron stays in there. He has struck out 5. And at the end of 6, zip, zip. Or the Diamondbacks, and 54% of you say the Mariners, despite the fact if Cliff Lee, Sean Figgins et al. 54% Seattle, 24% the Brewers, 22% the Diamondbacks. Text your answer 86212 on your cell. We'll give you the final. Talking about final, the Braves, who are just playing super. And remember, they're going to be here for 4 games. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That should be a tremendous series. Well, the Braves have just knocked off the Phillies 7-3. Tim Hudson, 6-1, beat Cole Hamels. Troy Gloss hit his 9th home run. It was a 3-run home run in the first inning. So what it means is the Braves, making a move, are now a game and a half in front of Philadelphia. They've won 7 straight, and they will be here Thursday. Still no score. We're in the 7th. Justin Upton, Adam LaRoche, Chris Young, and let's see about the first pitch now. A strike. That means that John Eli has gotten a first pitch strike to the last 11 consecutive batters. 0-1 to Upton. Big overhand breaking ball, strike 2. That's that rainbow curve, or the 12-6. Show him a fastball, 1-2 the count. So Eli has gotten that first pitch for a strike to 11 straight. Dan Herron has gotten the first pitch for a strike to 9 straight. And down goes Upton. And again, it's that big overhand pitch, only this time he takes a lot off it. You can call it a changeup. Take a look. He just took a lot, and it seems to die at the last minute. 4 strikeouts for John Eli. Now LaRoche struck out, lined out. Ball one. Ball two. So John Eli in another tough game. Remember, his last game out was in Chicago. He went 7 1/3 innings. He was absolutely brilliant, and he lost 1-0. That's a strike. 2-1. So despite the fact he has an earned run average of 3, he's just 3-2. That's ball 3. When he faced Arizona back in the 11th of May, he went 6, allowed 2 earned runs. Three and 2 the count. Outside of the very first start, as Young waits on deck, back at the end of April, Eli started in New York against the Mets, and he gave up 5 earned runs. Otherwise, he's been brilliant. That's going to go foul. So it's still 3 and 2. One run against Milwaukee, 2 runs against Arizona, 2 runs against Houston, 2 earned runs against Detroit, 1 earned run against the Cubs. And he walked him, which is rare. Upton walked in the first inning, and now he walks LaRoche. You know, voting is underway for the All-Star game. Ethier, Kemp, and Manny all rank in the top 10 for National League outfielders, and you can vote up to 25 times at Dodgers.com/vote. You could even win tickets to an Under the Lights event this season. John Eli walked 2 men in Chicago, 1 against Detroit, and you have to go back to his very first game against the Mets in New York when he walked 3. That's ball 1. Well, he's walked 2 tonight. Chris Young grounded to third, grounded to short, 0 for 2. Having a very good start to this year. Turning completely around and trying to forget a bad year last year. Fly ball, Ethier frozen in his tracks. 2 out. So Rusty Ryle will be coming up with LaRoche at first base. LaRoche does not have a stolen base, nor has he been involved in one. Nevertheless, Loney's going to hold a corner on him. Ryle flied to center, single to left, got as far as third. Each team has had one man get to third. Kemp in the 6th inning, Ryle in the 5th. Starts him fastball strike. So he's still throwing that strike. First pitch. Oh and 1. Foul back, 0 and 2. No runs, 2 hits for the D-backs. No runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. LaRoche, as we mentioned, does not do a lot of base running. He has not had a stolen base since he played for the Pirates. And that's missed at the plate, as it was missed both times by the hitter and the catcher. So let's see, it is a strikeout, but then what? We'll have to take a look, and I'm sure the official scorer wants to look at the tape. Oh, yeah, that'd be a pass ball. Sure. So strikeout, pass ball. So LaRoche at second, Ryle at first, 5 strikeouts for John Eli. And here's Connor Jackson, flied to center, flied to left. Made a fine play himself on a ball hit by Ethier in the first inning. Connor struggling on the road trip. And again, John Eli doesn't fool around. He comes right after the hitter, another first pitch strike. Connor Jackson 0 for 2 tonight, so he is 1 for 19 on this road trip. He had a 6-game hitting streak, and he had it snapped in Colorado. And he has been hunting ever since. In the dirt, gets away from Martin, down to third, LaRoche, they got him. So a walk, a strikeout on a pass ball, and then LaRoche is nailed at third trying to come over. Martin erases the pass ball, and the crowd now asks for standing to sing God Bless America and Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie to the ocean, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Julie Chen.
Tonight, John Eli and Dan Herron just match up the numbers. What's really interesting, the strikeouts and walks, only 2 walks in the game, almost the same number of pitches. The big difference, the Dodgers getting 5 hits, unable to push a run across. Eli's allowed only 2 hits. And Herron ready to work in the 7th, and Martin a line drive base hit into left center. Martin at the bag and will hold on. Nice play by Chris Young out there to hold it to a long single. So the Dodgers have had the leadoff man get on several times. They had Carroll get on in the 3rd. Then they had Kemp get on in the 6th. Now they have Martin get on in the 7th, but it has not produced anything yet. Jamie Carroll followed by Eli. Ronald Belisario is up in the Dodger bullpen. Eli's only made 92 pitches. Carroll shows bunt, pulls it back, and it's ball 1. Dodgers no run, 6 hits, and we'll see if Bo is putting on a play. Janey hitting .282, 2 for 2 tonight. Ryle about even with the bag at 3rd, kind of looking bunt. There it is. Herron's play is to 2nd. Nice pick, and then see if the ball was dropped, but it wasn't. Close play at 2nd. And Drew and Martin have a brief conversation. And Martin is angry. Now both benches empty, and we'll see what that's all about. You'd have to be down there. If we can take a look, not so much at all the jawing and some laughing, but let's take a look at the tag as best we can to see if that offended Martin. And then both benches came out for no good reason. Let's take a look. All right, there's the bunt. Herron's got a good play. Drew is at the bag. There's the throw. And the knee came up. I think Martin's right knee came up, and maybe Drew said something about that knee. Can we look at that again? Because we have nothing to look at on the field except watching players go back to the dugout. So again, watch Martin's knee coming up there and the foot lashing out. So, I mean, Drew got the worst of it, and yet must have said something, and Martin didn't like what he said. Yeah, you can see Drew gesture like, why don't you go into the bag instead of the way you went in anyway. It gave both benches a chance to stretch their legs. Both bullpens now can take a refreshing walk back to the pen. And Garrett Anderson is going to come up and hit for John Eli. Here's the play again. And that leg and foot, I'm sure, upsets Stephen Drew.
Number 9, Garrett Anderson.
So the force play 1-6. Drew is okay. And the batter, Garrett Anderson. So John Eli, another great effort, and the Dodgers are going to have to take an ad to get a run. For him, anyway. Anderson has good numbers against Herron when they played against each other in the American League. Garrett, 2 home runs, hitting .364 against him. And ball 1. For Garrett, that tough role of coming off the bench, but he does have 5 pinch hits, a home run, and 3 RBIs as well. They keep an eye on Jamie Carroll. Jamie Carroll is 2 for 2 in stolen bases. You have 1 out. Carroll at first, 7th inning, no score. That's a strike. 1-1. So Herron gives you the whole store. Fastball, sliders, curveball, changes, and splitters for good measure. No runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 2 hits for the D-backs. That's a strike. 1 and 2. Garrett Anderson. Boy, what a remarkable career he has been. Carroll drawing a throw. Dodgers have beaten the D-backs 6 out of 7. Dodgers have a little 2-game winning streak, and the D-backs have lost 8 straight. Bouncer down to Kelly Johnson. The feed for 1, the turn for 2. And at the end of 7, we're right back where we started. No score. John Eli, another magnificent effort. He goes 7 innings, does not allow a run, allows just 2 hits, strikes out 5, and they have to hit for him. So here is Belisario. He is first of the big 3 coming out of the pen. Normally, Belisario comes in the 7th. Quo pitches the 8th. Broxton pitches the 9th. Quo is up right now, warming behind Belisario. So Hung-Chi getting ready. Connor Jackson, Chris Snyder, and then Dan Herron due up in the 8th. No score. Connor, remember, was left at the plate when LaRoche tried to come over on a pass ball and was nailed at third. 0-1 to Connor. And a line drive base hit. Boy, did he ever say hello to Belisario. He almost took his head off. So Connor Jackson opens the 8th with a bullet. Right back at you. So Belisario gives up a hit. That's hit number 3 for the D-backs. Connor's 1 for 3. And the big catcher, Chris Snyder, with a very good hitter on deck, Dan Herron. Snyder showing bunt. Ball 1. The big catcher does not have a sacrifice so far this year. He'll check with Bo Porter, coaching at third. Matt Williams over at first. 1 ball and no strikes to Chris. No runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 3 hits for the Diamondbacks. Connor Jackson has stolen 3 out of 4. Snyder dropping to his knees, holding back on the bat on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. 2-0 the count. Snyder again checking with Bo Porter. Rusty Ryle reached third in the 5th inning. Matt Kemp reached third in the 6th inning. And that's it. 2-0. A strike. 2-1. Belisario coming in has walked 9 and struck out 14. A high ERA of over 6. The bunt is down. Belisario's play looked at second. I think he had a play. Well, we'll never know. But it looked from up here as if he had a play. You judge. Look at that. I mean, oh, yeah, what a play. Sure. Well, we'll see just how important that is. Runner at second, 1 out. Herron has grounded out and singled. No doubt the best hitting pitcher in the National League. Dan has 14 hits, 5 doubles, 4 runs batted in, hitting a cool .412. 1-1. Herron, surprisingly, with all of his ability with the bat, has only been used once this year as a pinch hitter, and he got a base hit. 1-2. Belisario throwing smoke. He hit 95 on the gun. No score, 8th inning. Fouled away. And looking at the D-backs, Ryle got to third in the 5th inning. Ryle got to second in the 7th inning. LaRoche got to second in the 7th and was nailed trying to come over on the pass ball. The block anyway. Kelly Johnson waiting his turn on deck. And Connor Jackson looking for a ride home. And a drive to right center. Matt Kemp is there. Tagging up is Connor, but that's all. He's not going anywhere. So Herron, a fly ball to Matt Kemp, 2 out. Whatever Ethier hollered over at him, making Matt smile. And now Kelly Johnson. And Joe Torre with Hung Chi Kuo down there in the pen and a left-hand hitter coming up is not going to waste any time and bring in Kuo, so we'll be right back. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. And by Carl's Jr. $6 burgers, made with 100% Black Angus beef. We have a moment, and here are the final numbers for our text message question. We asked, which of these teams do you think is the biggest disappointment so far this season? The Brewers, the Mariners, or the Diamondbacks? And 57% of you said the Mariners. Well, the Dodgers bring in Hung-Chi Kuo to face Kelly Johnson, a left-hand batter. 12 innings, 17 strikeouts, and only 4 walks. Great ERA of less than 1.5. Kelly Johnson, the left-hand batter, due up. Among other things about Kelly, should be kept in mind that he has a total of 12 home runs. 5 of those home runs are against left-hand pitchers. So obviously not intimidated. We'll look at Hung-Chi Kuo and how many times he might have faced Kelly Johnson. The answer is 1. Whoops. 1 for 1. A home run. So now you know. Connie Jackson at second. No score. 8th inning, 2 out. Starts him with a little cutter, slider off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. They're in the 8th inning in San Diego. The Mets are leading the Padres 4-1. Ground ball foul. 1-1 to count. So Hung-Chi Kuo starts Kelly Johnson back-to-back sliders and a 1-1 count. Johnson flied to center, struck out, fouled out to third. No score, 8th inning, and with 2 out, Connor Jackson at second base. And another breaking ball. So 3 sliders in a row and a 2-1 count. No runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 3 hits for the D-backs. Eli went 7. Aaron is still in there. There's the fastball. And there's the out. No runs, 1 hit, a man left. And at the end of 7.5, it remains no score. Eli finally went out for a pinch hitter. Belisario and Clough finished up the 8th inning, but Dan Herron is still there, going up against Fertall, Kemp, and Ethier here in the bottom of the 8th inning. For Dan, he has one complete game this year, the only complete game on the Arizona staff. One other thing, since it's a back-to-back shutout here, the D-backs have been shut out 3 times this year, and the Dodgers have been shut out 7 times. Off speed for a strike, slow curveball, 0-1. Off the plate, Raphael tried to bunt his way aboard, tapped it back to Herron, popped up to short, and struck out with a runner at second in the 5th inning. Fouled away. Give us a chance to give you the paid attendance tonight on a beautiful evening and an exceptional game. 36,533. 36,533. Fertall batting an even 300. In the dirt. Raphael going 0 for 3 tonight. Not that much of a surprise against Dan Herron. He's hitting under 200 against Herron. 2-2. Fastball. Foul back into the crowd, well back of the Dodger dugout. That was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and to be technical, actually 91. So Herron can still bring it. He made 102 pitches going into this 8th inning. Eli made only 91 in his 7th inning. Still up there, 2-2. So for Dan Herron, you watch him tonight, and the mystery continues. How in the world a fellow who has pitched as well as he has, how well he is pitching tonight, has still given up 16 home runs. He gave up 27 all last year. 2-2. Foul back. But all you have to do is look at your scorebook, if you're indeed keeping score, and you realize Dan has not walked a batter. And when you're living around the plate, every now and then you're going to give one up. 2-2. Got him. Fastball at 93. So Fertall strikes out twice, goes 0 for 4, 6 strikeouts for Dan Herron. You know, the Dodgers' opening day outfield comes to life with a series of collectible action figures. Thursday at 7:10, the first 15,000 kids receive a Matt Kemp action figure presented by Grapes from California. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or give us a call, 866-DODGERS. Matt fouls it away. Grounded to third, hit into a force play, reached on the error by Adam LaRose. That's when the Dodgers looked like they were going to break through, because with one out, Ramirez singled into third. But Loney struck out and Blake struck out. 1-1. Matt backing away, thought that pitch missed, and Dan's talking to himself out there. One and two. By the way, when the D-backs come up in the 9th, they'll have Stephen Drew, Justin Upton, Adam LaRoche, right the heart of the lineup. High fastballs, all of them at 93, so he's still got plenty. 2-2. And down goes Kemp. And another 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Right fielder, number 16.
So for Herron, he now has 7 strikeouts. And here's Ethier. Just checking the books as far as Herron is concerned. Against the Dodgers in the middle of April, he had no decision. He went 6 1/3 innings. He allowed 2 earned runs, and he made 121 pitches. Andre overswinging, 0-1. Right now, as Herron walks behind the rubber, his next pitch will be 117. And on deck, Manny Ramirez. 1-1. You don't think Dan Herron is fighting negative thoughts right about now? You don't think he's thinking, no, not again. Not home run allowed number 17. Ball 2. Because if you are as successful a professional as Dan Herron is and has been, I'm sure he doesn't have that negative thought like that. Oh, time. He hesitated on the rubber, and immediately time called by Tim Timmons. Trying to put it all together again. 2-1. And that's going to be hit into center field for a base hit. And it will really bring this crowd alive because Manny Ramirez will be coming up. So Dan Herron has made 117 pitches, and the crowd is really into this one. Manny is 1 for 3, grounded up the middle, and Stephen Drew made a fine play and took a hit away from him. Grounded to third in the 4th inning reasonably hard, and hit one off the end of the bat and dunked one into center for a base hit in the 6th inning. Ball 1. The crowd is so much a part of the story. So we're just going to be quiet. You can certainly see all the pitches. Ball 2. Herron has not walked a man. He has struck out 7. He's allowed 7 hits, no runs. Breaking ball that didn't break very much. 2-1. Ethier at first base has not been involved in any kind of a base stealing play. 2-1 to Manny. Time was requested by Manny. Ramirez has walked 18 times and he has struck out 18 times. 2-1. Little ground foul. 2-2. 550 home runs in his career. His last RBI, he passed Frank Robinson. Dan Herron, he has made 123 pitches. .124. As we said, with the facial hair and the long hair, Dan always looks tired. But after 124 pitches, I think he is tired. Yeah, you bet. He's pitched a gem. Oh, he wanted that pitch. Did he want that pitch? That close. And he's trying to gather himself now. Here it comes, 125 pitches. Which, in all honesty, in the old days, that was what you expected, really. 3-2. Ethier goes, and a fly ball to straightaway shallow center. Much ado about nothing. So the Dodgers leave Ethier. A big battle by Dan Herron as he goes through 8. And at the end of 8, no score. Bo Porter giving him a hug. Stottlemyre gives him a hug. And he's saying, never mind the hugs, give me a run. What a tremendous effort. And by the way, Dan Herron pitching with heart and soul tonight, making 125 pitches, might be spurred on by a thought. When do you think his last victory at Dodger Stadium was? $4 years ago? 5 years ago? 6 years ago? How about 7 years ago? 2003. Now Kirk Gibson talks to him. Chris Snyder, Augie Ojeda. 125 pitches later. What a tremendous effort. And from the looks of things, he's not finished. Of course, again, remember, 6 times this year, an Arizona starter left the game with a possible win, and the pen has lost the game. The Arizona bullpen is #1 in blown saves. They're #1 in inherited runners scoring. So it looks like, even though Aaron Heilman got up in the pen, maybe they'll stay with Herron. Well, here's Stephen Drew facing Hung-Chi Kuo. Right. Drew and Kuo. Drew is 2 for 9. Tonight, 0 for 3. Manny Ramirez made a fine catch on a ball he hit in the 4th inning. 0-2. Looking over at Dan Harron's effort, as from the looks of things, he's going to go back out there. Did not walk anybody. He had 2 3-ball counts. And you know how they always talk about the first pitch? 20 of the 30 batters he faced, he had the first pitch for a strike. John Eli had another great effort. He went 7 and only made 91 pitches and did not give up a run. 2-2. Hung-Chi Kuo, tremendous story. Consistently hits 95 on the gun, despite the 4 arm surgeries, the 2 Tommy John surgeries. Ball 3. You would think he had quite a psychological battle. The next pitch, my entire career could end, but he's long over that. Three and two. Fastball, got him. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's one of those deer in the headlights at bat for Stephen Drew. So 1 away. 6 D-backs have struck out. Eli had 5. Aaron has struck out 7 Dodgers. Now Upton. Justin walked in the 1st inning, flied to right in the 4th inning, struck out in the 7th. In the dirt. What about Upton going against Kuo? Just 0 for 1. He struck out. Down in the bullpen for Arizona, their closer, Chad Qualls, begins to loosen up. He has 9 saves. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, we repeat, the D-backs have been shut out only 3 times this year. The Dodgers have been shut out 7 times. A.J. Hinch looking for a run. Fastball in there. He's been steady at 93, and he hit a couple at 95, especially that last pitch to Stephen Drew. That was 95. Off speed, little breaking ball, and it was shelled. The slider was sent right into the Arizona dugout. 1-2 to Justin Upton. Upton 6'2", 200, be 23 the end of August. And stayed up with the slider. 2-2. Upton is a far better hitter this year than last. And last year he had 26 home runs, 86 runs batted in. 2-2. Fastball. So after all the sliders, he comes back with a fastball at 95, and he has struck out 2. Boom. And now Adam LaRoche. For Kuo, he has walked 4, and he has struck out 19. Adam has struck out, lined out to left, walked, was erased at third, trying to come over on the pitch in the dirt. That's a foul ball. 0-1. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the ninth, it will be James Loney, Casey Blake, and Russell Martin. Loney 1 for 3, Blake 1 for 3, Martin 1 for 3. So 3 for 9 amongst them. Breaking ball popped up left side for call. That'll be that. So Quo comes in, sets him down 1, 2, 3. Actually got 4 outs tonight. And we're heading to the bottom of the ninth, no score. Ball game as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning, and the magnificent effort of the starting pitchers for North. John Eli went 7, did not give up a run. He's not involved. Dan Herron went 8 innings, made 126 pitches, did not give up a run, and now the ball is in the hands of the reliever. The Dodgers using Belisario and then Quo, and Aaron Heilman has handled a big assignment, and it'll be Loney, Blake, and Martin in the ninth inning. For Heilman, he is 1-1, no saves. Big boy out of Logansport, Indiana. He's 6'5", 225, and went to school at Notre Dame. James Loney grounded out, single, struck out. One other note about Hung-Chi Kuo before we get wrapped up in the bottom of the ninth. Hung-Chi Kuo now, left-handed batters against Hung-Chi Kuo are 0 for 18. He has completely dominated every left-hand hitter he's faced. Remarkable. Meanwhile, Loney has the count 2-0. James hitting .286, 1 for 3. And that's ball 3. Loney 1 for 9 against Heilman. Three and 0 to James. In there. Heilman's numbers as far as walks, he's walked 7. He has struck out 18. And another strike. 3-2. You might think, oh, Aaron Heilman from Indiana going to school in Notre Dame, that had to be a big dream. Not really. He wanted to go to a warm weather school. popped up, it'll be Stephen Drew. One away. Yeah, Aaron was waiting and hoping for a scholarship maybe from the University of Texas or maybe way out here, University of California. But they all backed off, so he had to button up and go to Notre Dame. Well, here now, Casey Blake, single to left, grounded out, struck out, 1 for 3. Against Heilman, Casey is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Ball 1. Boy, Casey saw a couple of mean splitters in the 6th inning when Ramirez was at second base. That's a strike. 1-1. Heilman give you the two-seamer. He also has a splitter, a slider, and a change. High drive into center. Back goes Young to the track and makes the catch. That had them standing here momentarily, but just a long out. 2 down, 9th inning, no score. And Russell Martin coming up. Last we heard, San Diego was still losing to the Mets. It's 4-2 down there. Late in the game. Martin flied to left, struck out, singled, slid roughly into second base. Knee and spikes came up. I guess Stephen Drew said something to him. Then Martin got up out of the dirt. He had a few words. A lot of players felt a little exercise. They ran out. Some laughing. Some doing nothing but just running out because everybody else ran out. And then they all quietly went back to the bullpens and to the respective dugouts. And here's Russell 0-1. As they say in Hawaii, no big thing, brother. Fastball missed. 1-1. Heilman, big league big. He's 6'5", 225. Bouncer up the middle. Drew going behind the bag. Can't make it. So a 2-out single by Russell Martin keeps the inning alive. And Jamie Carroll coming up. So Martin is 2 for 4. Jamie Carroll singled twice, hit into a force play. He's 2 for 3. He is 2 for 7 in the past against Aaron Heilman. For the Dodgers, they're really spinning their wheels now. No runs, 8 hits. Problem is they only get 1 hit an inning. The D-backs, no runs, 3 hits. And ball 1. So the Dodgers 8 hits, 1 hit every inning but the first. And all singles. Ground ball, base hit. Martin goes to second and holds. Ronnie Belliard will be coming up to bat now for Hung-Chi Kuo. So Heilman is in trouble with 2 out. Martin has 2 hits. Jamie Carroll continues his amazing play. He comes up with his 3rd hit. And Ronnie Belliard gets the call. Belliard has not been successful at all coming on the bench. Not that many are. He's just 3 for 15. Well, Belliard, that would belie the fact that he's hitting a solid 270. Dodgers use Anderson to bat for Eli, and Garrett grounded into a double play. How about Belisario? He came in and pitched 2/3 of an inning. Then Quo came in to dominate. And now Belliard trying to end it. Oh, 1. No runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 3 hits for the D-backs. No score, 9th inning, 2 out. 0-2. Martin, the winning run at second. Carroll at first, 2 out. 0-2 to Belliard. In the dirt, nice block by Chris Snyder. Belliard has walked 8 times and struck out 10. So pretty good knowledge of the strike zone. A.J. Hinch hoping for a 10th inning. Martin's carrying the mail out there. 1-2 to Ronnie Belliard. Fastball got him looking. So Aaron Heilman fights his way out of a jam. The Dodgers lead 2. We played 9. No score. As Todd Stottlemyre talks to Aaron Heilman, who fought his way out, giving up singles to Martin and Carroll and striking out Belliard. So as we go to the 10th, it will be Jeff Weaver. Remember, Broxton pitched the 9th inning last night, gave up a base hit and a wild pitch, but got away from it. And so it is Weaver coming in on the heels of Eli, Belisario, and Quo. He'll be facing Young, Ryle, and Jackson. We'll check the past to see if we have any indication on the present. Chris Young is 0 for 3. Young against Weaver is 2 for 8. Then you'll have Ryle, who is 0 for 1 against Jeff Weaver. And then Connor Jackson. And Jackson is 0 for 4. Young grounded to third, grounded to short, and that's not like him. He is a fly ball hitter for sure. Last time up, he flied to right field. Weaver 2-1. Boy, we've had a lot of first pitch strikes tonight. A tribute to all the pitchers. They've gone right after the hitters. 0-1. One and one. They play Young straight away. And a high fly ball down the line for calling, and he is there. Whoa, wonderful play. Had to go a long way. Stayed with it. Manny Ramirez playing Young straight away, but very deep. So Call was the only one who had a play. Manny couldn't get over there. Lost his balance, but held on to the ball. So one away. Young goes 0 for 4. And the batter, Rusty Ryle, fly to center, single to left, and struck out. 0-1. Dodgers might get further inspiration tonight. The Mets just knocked off the Padres 4-2. Mike Pelfrey the win. Wade LeBlanc the loss. So a Dodger win would put them one back of the Padres. That snapped a San Diego 3-game winning streak. 1-1. For the Mets, they're trying to snap out of it. They're in last place in the East, but only 3.5 back of Atlanta. The Braves are here starting Thursday night. One and two, and I hear the words of Roy Campanella. Can't be talking about getting the jelly leg, but for Rusty Ryle, to his credit, he hung in there as Weaver came by way of third base. 1 and 2. Two and two. So Jeff mixes up his pitches, fastballs and sliders, but he also mixes up his arm slot. He'll go 3/4 and then every now and then come by way of third. 2 and 2 to Rusty Ryle, playing for Mark Reynolds. Over the top fastball, flared foul. Jeff hits 93 on the gun, and we have a 2-2 count. 36,533 were here with us when the game started. Work day tomorrow, so a lot of folks have headed for home. Connor Jackson on deck. Time. For Weaver, for any reliever late in a game, you have to get the mound just so. There have been 5 other pitchers out there ahead of him. There he comes by way of third, and that didn't frighten Ryle. A line drive single to left field. Takes a good man to hang in there and keep that left leg still when they come by third base. So Rusty goes 2 for 4. And the batter will be Connor Jackson. That is hit number 4. That's all. Dodgers have 9 hits, no runs. Connor hitting .224, fly to center, fly to left, single to center, 1 for 3. We're in the 10th, no score. It's also the 8th meeting of the year between the two teams. Dodgers have won 6 of the 7. That's in there. Little slider. Good pitch, says Connor to plate umpire Tim Timmons. Connor's dad, well known in the acting business. He has a birthday right around now, if you know him. 0-1. Over the top. 1-1. What Weaver does, he gets to a certain point in his delivery, and at the last second, he shows the hitter where he's coming from. Ryle at first, 1 out. Rusty has not been involved in any kind of a stolen base. Connor Jackson has walked 16 and struck out 16. 1-1. Ball 2. 93-mile-an-hour fastball, but Jeff's behind in the count now. 2-1. Jeff's been a professional since 1998 when he signed with the Tigers. He was a #1 pick. There goes the runner, and it's popped up. So Ryle has to go back, and Blake will make the catch. When you have a hitter like a Jackson, who has walked as many times as he has struck out, not a bad idea to put a play on. But Connor popped it up. So now Chris Snyder with 2 out and a runner at first in this scoreless deadlock. To look ahead, when the Dodgers come up in the 9th inning, it will be Rafael Furcal, Matt Kemp, and Andre Ethier. And if anybody gets on, Manny Ramirez. Furcal is 0 for 4. Kemp is 0 for 4. Ethier is 1 for 4. And that's ball 1. Mark Reynolds with 2 out and a bad leg. He hurt it last night running to first. Reynolds comes out on deck. Mark last night struck out twice, popped up and singled. Grimacing when he got near the bag at first and had to come out. Could not start tonight. That's a strike. 1-1. Snyder struck out, grounded out, and then sacrificed in the 8th inning. First time that he has sacrificed this year. He's got 8 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Ryle with 2 out at first. Fastball. And he hits 93. 1-2 the count. So Snyder trying to extend the inning, let Reynolds come up. Reynolds, by the way, in the past 0 for 5 against Weaver with 3 strikeouts. Big breaking ball, that slider. 2-2. Ryle at first. Matt Williams over to say something to him. And ball 3. So a big pitch now. 3-2 to Chris Snyder with 2 out. Ryle will be going from first. Loney is holding a corner to take a step away from him. And Mark Reynolds waits on deck. Fouled at the plate. So Chris still there. Snyder has gone through yet another game without committing an error. So his streak, if he gets through tonight, will be 237 games without an error. That would be the third longest streak in Major League history. Mike Matheny holds the National League record. Got 17 more games for Chris to play. 3-2. Ryle goes, and it's pop foul out of play, and another hard slider. Snyder has struck out 37 times, walked 26. Not bad. Especially on a ball club that would appear to strike out with reckless abandon. 3-2 again. 2 down. Ryle ready to go from first. No score in the 10th. There goes Rusty. And there goes Snyder. So Weaver comes in, gives up a hit and nothing else, and here they come for call. Kemp, Ethier, no score. Ball game, and for A.J. Hinch and the D-backs, they bring in their third pitcher. Dan Herron was absolutely magnificent for 8. Then Heilman pitched the 9th, and Juan Gutierrez comes out of the pen. 6'2", 210. He'll be 27 in the middle of July, from Venezuela, and was originally signed as a free agent by the Astros. And you may remember 3 years ago, the Astros and the D-backs made a big deal. The D-backs sent their closer, Jose Valverde, to the Astros. And in return, the Diamondbacks got Gutierrez, Chris Burke, and Chad Qualls. And even though Qualls, with his 9 saves, warmed up earlier, they go to Gutierrez. And the Dodgers now will have Furcal, Kemp, and Ethier. Gutierrez has a record of 0-4 and an earned run average of 10. He is a home run pitcher, and that's a line drive at Stephen Drew. 1 away. I mean, how about those numbers and looking at Gutierrez? He's allowed 9 home runs in 18 innings. Gutierrez, fastball, curveball, slider, and change. Last year, left-handers hit 297, right-handers 207. Kemp, ball 1. Kemp has grounded to third, hit into a force play, reached on an error, and struck out. So it's been lonely at the top. For a call 0 for 5, Kemp 0 for 4. Then Ethier 1 for 4. So collectively amongst them, for call, Kemp and Ethier, 1 for 13. Hit foul down the right field line. Matt Kemp with 10 home runs, 30 runs batted in. Kemp against Gutierrez 2 for 4 in the pass. Fastball fouled away. And Gutierrez hits 95 on the gun. Two balls, 2 strikes. 1 out in the 10th, no score. And it's a drive to left. That's got heat, and it is gone. And that means Gutierrez has allowed 10 home runs in 18 1/3 innings as the Dodgers win it 1-0. So Matt Kemp dancing away from the dog pile. Everybody is very conscious about celebrations now. For the Dodgers, they had a hit in every inning and finally get the big hit in the 10th. Now the Dodgers have won 3 in a row. They have picked up a game on San Diego. The Padres now lead the Dodgers by 1. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, they are 0-8 on the road trip. They now have a 9-game losing streak. And Matt so very gently stepped on home plate. And no big dog pile. And he finally gets away with it. So for Gutierrez, habit is a tough thing, and he gives up another home run, and the Dodgers win it 1-0. A reminder, tomorrow at high noon over on Prime Ticket. Hope you'll join us out here in person if at all possible. Till then, good night.